Pic.Think, thinking through media.
No, this I finished about, I don't know, half an hour ago.
Oh, Prince of Egypt?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's fresh in your mind then. All right, so, what about you, Gladys? You haven't watched it. No, but you remember it though.
Yeah, but I remember it, yeah.
It's ingrained from Sunday school.
Of course, I think I watched it during Christmas as well.
Okay.
I've never seen it before.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
When I watched it, I thought, why have I never seen it ever?
Really?
Ever. I just know.
Yeah, I used to watch it in Sunday school.
Yeah. I remember you said it in around Christmas when we recorded.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, welcome guys.
Hey.
Welcome everyone watching. This is Pic.Think film, and we are talking about Prince of Egypt. I'm Sy Adamah, and I'm joined by Raveen and Gladys Vanessa. How are you guys? It's been a while since we last met.
Good. It has been a while.
It's been a couple months.
Was it
2 months.
Christmas?
New Year's Eve.
Wow. No.
Time flies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does fly.
Time does fly.
Especially when you're having a pandemic.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we're all here and healthy, despite the C word, CV. How do we feel about that, by the way? Let's just briefly talk about that.
I feel like, I don't know how I feel. I feel like I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone around me is just going a bit mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to shake them and be like, but
yeah. I feel like it's a bit of an exaggeration, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's an exaggeration and then I get it and I'm there like...
Struggling.
Yeah,
no,
but
for me,
yeah, I feel like it is an exaggeration. I feel like it's serious, but people are overdoing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think if you're going to get it, you're going to get it.
Just
What
be
can
clean.
you do? Yeah.
Just be clean. Wash
I'm
your
not going to
hands.
stop living my
prevent it.
life. Yeah. Just trying to be me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we just need to be cautious, really.
Yeah.
That's all. Be as cautious as possible, but don't kind of like go into panic mode, really. That's all.
It's too late.
It's too late, yeah. All right, so we are doing Prince of Egypt, but actually, since we haven't caught up in a while, what have we been watching?
I watched The Stranger
The Stranger.
on
Yeah.
Netflix.
I saw that advertised somewhere. On Netflix,
That
actually,
was
yeah.
interesting.
Well, it was interesting. I'm not sure if I liked it.
Bit anticlimactic, I found.
Yes, that was my problem with it. Like, I felt like I was watching it and nothing was really, like, the story wasn't really being told through the episode until the end. And it was just like, even so, it was like,
ended,
there was no real answers.
I wanted more.
Yeah, same.
But
But it was an okay series to just watch, I guess. I watched The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez.
oh, I need to
Saw
watch
that
that.
advertised as well.
Was that good?
I wouldn't say it's good, but it's very... like, it's so emotional. Like, it's
I like
just...
those things.
I was just watching it and throughout the whole thing, I was just like, how? Like, that was just what I kept saying. How is all of this happening? And then I just remembered it's in LA, and LA don't care about no one. So.
Was it about?
So an 8-year-old boy who was tortured and abused by his mum and his mum's boyfriend over a span of 8 months, and he died. So they were just looking at the trial, what happened to him and that duration of his life, basically.
8 years old.
Yeah, he was
Tortured by
8 years
parents.
old, tortured by parents. And like the failures of the system as well, they looked into as well. So there was social workers and police officers that were put on trial as well because like
They failed.
they just failed him
big
big time. Like when I say big, and it was really strange. Like why I was asking how is because it wasn't like the parents hid it.
Oh.
It was blatant. And he would go into school and he would say, like, my mum's shot me with a BB gun. And
What?
there would be bruises all over his face. He'd come in with
How?
black eyes. So, literally. And
Like even teachers
do you
have
get
to
what
be
I mean?
put on
Like,
trial for that. Where's the safeguarding?
I mean, like, his teacher did do her procedure, but it's like the social services and stuff and the people who were meant to escalate it didn't do anything. So she kind of felt helpless. She couldn't really do much apart
it's
from
the
report
system.
every single time.
Yeah.
And it was literally just the system. Like, they failed him big time. And I was just like, I was genuinely confused, because if it was a thing where parents were trying to hide it, hide his bruises, I would understand. You get what I mean? They're sort of like keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
But he was fully going to school with black eye, saying, yeah, my mum punched me in the face. Like,
Police should have been like called immediately to arrest them. What?
police visited the house and all sorts, and you just need to watch it. I still don't get how it happened, but yeah.
If you're interested in that, what you said just reminded me of a book that I read. I think I read it for the first time in year 6. It's called A Child Called It.
Oh yeah, I read
Have you read
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that book.
Not in year 6 though.
Yeah, well, I read it in year 6. I remember.
Secondary.
Yeah, I read it in
Sometime.
secondary.
That's sad.
And that was just that just resonated with me so much. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe some of the suffering that children go through.
There was a period of time when a lot of books were coming out like that.
Yeah, traumatic books.
There's
I think there
Precious,
was
Ugly, or-
Ugly. That's it.
And something else, and yeah.
Alright, so Raveen, what have you been watching?
I watched the last season of Narcos.
Oh, they finally they finished it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Started Noughts and Crosses.
Yes, I've started that too.
Is that
That
based
one.
on the book? By
Yeah.
Malik?
15-year-old me is just so excited.
Even 26-year-old me is excited. I watched Don't F with the Cats. We all seen that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've with that. I watched that.
go watch that, Syed. That's good. And then the Aaron Hernandez. What's it called?
Oh yeah, I
Something
watched that
about-
as well.
yeah. Ooh, I realised I watched a lot of crime
Christmas.
things.
Yeah.
Happy Valley I watched. That was like a BBC. It was like 6 episodes, but it was good.
Mm.
Oh, I watched that stupid Love Is Blind.
Oh, I
Waste of
watched
my
that.
time.
I saw someone, basically I was using someone else's Netflix and I saw them watching it. I was thinking, why is he watching that?
Do you know what it was?
Why is he watching
The whole world. Do you know what it was? Because I would listen to a lot of different podcasts and they're always discussing it, and people were like, have you seen it? And I was like, I don't have a clue. So I was like, all right, let me put first episode. I was like, nah, turn it off.
Same. I couldn't get into it.
No. When they said I love you after like 2 conversations, I said, forget this.
Is it like a different version of Love Island? No?
It's like, I don't know, if I don't watch many reality or dating shit. This is why, because they just date in the dark. It's like blind dating, but they date in pods and they don't see each other, but they fall in love basically without seeing each other. And over in the space of 6 weeks, they meet, get engaged, go on holiday, live together, then get married by the end of the 6 weeks. And it's just
Crazy.
it's so American. Yeah. Watching it, I was like, this is just, yeah. It's not
I think that's the trend recently, like with the Love Island and that, like what you're mentioning. I feel like there's something else that I'm not thinking of right now. That might be a craze, but I've just been tuned out of the culture, which is why I ask you all the time, guys, all the time, what is that you guys are watching. For me, it was quite seasonal. At the beginning, actually, no, at the end of January, I was watched Veganville. Then I watched, it was like a show on BBC. Where it was basically like, a few different types of vegans for different reasons. They go to Wales, like some heavy meat eating town, and then they try to convert people.
Oh, I don't like that
kind of thing,
Sorry.
through their
To
own means,
vegan.
to actually adopt a vegan diet for like 1 day or something like that.
Okay, for a
Stuff like
day.
that. So stuff like that, that's what they're trying to do. And then it's kind of like they'll be met with like hostility from certain people, some openness from others. There might be someone that says, nah, if you work in a slaughterhouse, you probably wouldn't eat meat, someone seemed very passionate about that. And then on the other hand, someone would be very like anti, where it's as if like he is offended by the thought of someone offering him to eat beans. Like, it's crazy. It's too extreme. And then I watched Meet the Family. Yeah, at the end of January, I was very vegan focused. I think it's because people recommended it to me. I even got recommended Messiah, but I wasn't watching TV during January. I was detoxing. And then someone said, watch Meet the Family. Then it was like 4 different families in London. Not in London, in the UK, where they had to raise a certain animal And in the process, they had to either choose to slaughter the animal or to keep it and become vegetarian. That was on Channel 4.
Wow.
There's no in between. What?
Like, then...
Just because you don't want to slaughter it doesn't mean you have to be vegetarian.
No, it was just kind of like basically this or that. Kind of like...
So like an experiment sort of?
Yeah. It was like a social experiment. Like, as in... It was like, are you going to go towards that or are you going to go...
Yeah.
Some people, they were in between, as in like, it was more like, say, it's giving you the dilemma, not saying that you have to.
Yeah.
But it's saying like, it was saying that you can obviously make adjustments. It's not saying that if you ate lamb and you raised the lamb, you have to continue eating lamb or something like that. But basically they raised the lamb. There's a couple people in the family said that they're definitely going to eat less lamb. And then,
but it's so cute.
And then after doing it, but then because the older people in the family, this was a black family, I think from London. I think it was from North London. There was like the older generation who were pressuring. Yeah. Well, they don't kill it themselves. As in they basically make the choice that this animal will get sent off. And then when they do make that choice, the animal gets sent back to them for them to eat. So yeah, that was quite powerful because it actually showed that there was a lot.
The processing.
The fact that people want to make a decision to do it, but they have a lot of family pressures.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that one. During this mid-February, I was watching, I watched Love Actually for the first time.
In February?
Mid-February.
Isn't that a Christmas film?
Yeah, but I watched it because I was thinking, it's near Valentine's Day, let me watch that. And yeah, it was
very
like
British and like
very British.
Just,
very British. That's what I thought about it. When I was watching, I was like, this is very
just an easy.
But it's nice. It was nice to watch.
Yeah.
Then I watched something called Eat, Pray, Love?
Oh yeah.
Eat, Pray, Love with
Julia
Roberts, yeah. I thought that was quite good. But when I looked at
that ages ago, it was good.
Yeah, it came out 2010.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Watched that. I thought it was quite cool. I thought that it was kind of like a what's the word? Like a butterfly evolution type of thing. If you get what I mean? Like, as in first she's eating, as in like she's living off pleasures and stuff. She goes to Italy and blah blah. Then she learns how to pray. So she learns how to be in her own space and kind of like meditate and kind of, what's the word? Forgive herself, stuff like that. Then she learns how to love again after.
That sounds interesting.
It is really good. I thought it was really good. Then what else did I watch? I watched Messiah, of course, and I think that's the only TV series that I've watched recently. I feel like I watched other stuff, but I can't think of it. Those are the only things I can remember watching.
Babies. There's a docu-series on Netflix called Babies, but it's about how babies are babies, basically, how they experience the world. So it's so interesting for me, like going alongside the psychodynamic, which I'm learning with counselling. It's basically everything I've been reading, but seeing it come to life. So like how babies interpret love, how they learn to love, the importance of feeding, what goes on for the parents as well, like how your hormones change. It's really interesting. Each episode is on a different aspect of babies and just how they develop.
Where is it again, you said?
On Netflix.
On Netflix?
Yeah.
Babies. I think I'll watch that.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
Cool.
It was really interesting. I mean, I've only watched 3 episodes, but...
How many episodes is it?
I think 10.
I think there was a similar show on BBC. I can't remember what it was called. I actually noted it down and said I would watch it, but I never did. And yeah, it was on like the development of babies, like what they go through, how they notice, like how young they can be to notice like love and stuff like that, and
watch the left,
sort of thing, and it was quite interesting.
What was the one that you said you watched? You watched something similar, you said?
Yeah, it was on BBC. I don't know what it was called.
I'll probably look on iPlayer and I'll try to find it. Just type in babies.
Babies.
Something will come up. But yeah, so are we ready to...
Also, sorry. Insecure is coming out. Just thought I need to rewatch because
season 4 now, right?
Yeah, we had to wait 2 years.
It's the longest wait.
Was it 2 years?
2 years. Then it must be the same as Atlanta, though.
Atlanta has been so long. Wasn't that 3 years ago?
Was it 3 years ago?
I don't know. It feels like it was ages ago. And then
No, I think it was 2 years ago because I remember we did record for it. Didn't release the episode for it, but we did record for it. So it must have been. Yeah, that was the first ever one that we did. Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah, the one that we did.
Rewatching that.
I'll definitely rewatch that, and I'll definitely rewatch.
I'm so excited.
I
feel like I'm getting my life back.
Yeah, but I hope it doesn't. Do you think they're going to release weekly?
What was it before?
I don't know, because if it's all out there, I have no self-control, and then I'm going to be so sad.
Yeah, I think they should do it weekly, and I hope that she's made the episodes longer.
They're so short.
Because they were like under 30 minutes.
Yeah, 26 minutes. You remember exactly the amount of minutes.
Nah, Insecure is lit.
No, she's too funny, man.
Alright, so shall we begin?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we're reviewing Prince of Egypt, the Dreamworks animation, 1998. So that's 22 years ago.
Wow.
22 years. Gladys, you look panicked. Now I'm actually just always going to mention times and dates and how many years it is, because I feel like it makes people realise how old we are. How old we are, yeah. Exactly. So the first question I do have is, if you were hired by Dreamworks and you were in a position to choose any mythical, biblical or other religious story to animate and style similar to Prince of Egypt, which story would you choose and why?
Wow.
That's a hard one.
I was thinking I should have tipped you guys off for this one as well. But then I thought this one would be easier than the other one. So that's why.
So a mythical or biblical story.
Or religious story or other religious story that you kind of remember and you think, oh, that's interesting. I would want that to be done in a way like Prince of Egypt is.
A few moments later.
Well, since
I think
this okay.
I think I would probably say, I don't know. You start.
Okay. For me, I would pick the story of Elijah.
What's that?
In the Bible. Basically, it's in Kings. I don't know too much about it. That's why I would want it to be put into animation form. But the things I do know about it is that, and from hearing about, let's say, from podcasts and hearing from preaching and stuff, it's about someone, a prophet, who is basically, how do I describe it? He shows both sides of being human. As in, like, he shows the side where he's confident and he's bringing fire down from the sky and doing this, that, and the third from being God's prophet and stuff. But then when he's persecuted and stuff, it shows his fears and his anxieties and stuff like that as well. And how sometimes he even wanted God to kill him because he was like, this is too much. So I felt like that would be a good, animation to kind of get me into that story, because when I know it's in the Book of Kings, everyone says, oh, Elijah's in the Book of Kings, Elijah's in the Book of Kings. And I've always felt like I would want to know more about him. Ever since I was young, I've always wanted to know more about him. I think it's since like I saw his story in like storybooks where he was like also taken up into heaven by a chariot of fire.
That would be good.
That's another one. That's another thing. He's fasted for 40 days after on his trek towards Mount Horeb, in a way. Moses encountered the burning bush. He trekked for 40 days fasting after encountering an angel. He was asleep, he was hungry, an angel gave him food to eat. Then the angel said, get up and be strengthened, eat and be strengthened, and then he carried on.
That would be good.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a story that I would definitely want to see animated. I feel like there's something else around him. Oh yeah, there was other stuff about how, I think this was in a Bible study, mentioned in a Bible study, that he met up with, let's say, like a widow, or was it a widow? Oh yeah, a widow basically had no money, hardly any money. She had a son, and she had little to give Elijah. Elijah asked for something, and then she had little to give him. And then she said, oh, I only have this, I'm planning to cook it, and I'm planning to eat it and die with my son, that kind of thing. and he said, "Go and do this with it," and then it's basically like it multiplied and it became more than she expected. That kind of thing. There's a few stories like that with him. So I think that would be, and also the fact that he. I don't know if you know about the story about the transfiguration of Jesus. You know, when he was on the mountain, and then there was like a bright light, and then Moses was there and Elijah was there as well, talking to him.
I feel like it rings a bell, but I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But basically, that story. And I was thinking, okay, I know Moses' story, but I don't know why Elijah was there as well.
Yeah.
So then
we put the pieces together.
It would make sense, because obviously we know that, let's say, even from Prince of Egypt, Moses is seen as the deliverer for Jews. But let's say, for example, that vision that the disciples had when they saw Jesus transfigured on the mountain had Elijah there as well. So he has an important role to play. So I feel like his story has been overlooked, I suppose. So
yeah. Because I didn't know as much as what you've just said.
Yeah,
that'd be quite good.
Mm-hmm. What about you guys? Is there any like Greek myths that resonate with you, or stuff that you've heard, like, let's say, folk tales?
I feel like in terms of Bible stories, it would be nice to have the story, like a visual to the whole Genesis Garden of Eden sort of thing. But like everybody knows the story, but it would be quite nice.
I'm surprised they don't.
Yeah, like that whole
situation
at the beginning of time. That would be really cool.
Eve's story.
Yeah.
Why'd you say the apple, Eve?
I think that would be quite sick as a visual.
Yeah.
And do they have David and Goliath as a visual?
I feel like
it must be.
Yeah,
it must be. I think they do.
Because people call it enough that it's
I think they do have it somewhere.
somewhere.
Deep,
there must be a
deep down
version.
I've always liked that story.
Yeah,
like the underdog sort of.
Yeah.
I think they have it. I know they have it in a TV series. I think the Bible. You know.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that one's on Netflix. I think. No, AD is on Netflix, but the Bible is made by the same producers and stuff, the same makers that made that. But yeah, I think it's in that. But a cartoon version would be good.
Yeah.
And they do sort of stem that sort of storyline in a lot of films and stuff.
Yeah,
so
they do reference it like in different ways.
Yeah, it's heavy in popular culture. Everyone knows about David and Goliath. Everyone.
I feel like you even hear it in song lyrics and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like, I can't think on the spot of stories from the Bible anyway. But I think I would want to know like a different religion.
Yeah, you can pick a different religion, definitely.
Probably Islam, because there are so many, from what my mum has spoken to me, she's not Islamic at all. There are so many similarities between Christianity and Islam. And there was a time when it crossed over back in the beginning and whatnot. And I would just I'd love to know more about that and the Prophet Muhammad and whatnot in a way that I can digest.
I agree.
For me,
I agree with both of you guys. I definitely would like to see a visual of Genesis, like as in with the technology we have now.
Yeah.
Really good. And with Islam, this is why I did recommend Messiah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it felt fresh in that sense. But we'll get onto that later. It felt like, this is an interesting perspective to take it from. Because we've heard the Jesus story all the time and but this felt fresh.
Yeah, no.
But so if we can't,
for me it would be
it'll be that. Okay, so we can move on to the review then. All right, so at the start of this, I don't know if you guys remember it, but at the start of this, there's like a disclaimer where it says, while artistic and historical license has been taken, we believe that this film is true to the essence, values and integrity of a story that is a cornerstone of faith for millions of people worldwide. So would you agree with Dreamworks that they managed to use their creative license to give an authentic retelling of this religious story through animation? Or would you argue that animating this story diminished the sacredness of it?
I think I'd fall somewhere in between. I feel like I don't know the story thoroughly enough, having read it straight from the Bible, like word for word, to say that they haven't done it justice. For me, I enjoyed it because it was just, not relatable is not the word, it was digestible. You know, I could enjoy it. It was told as a story. But then I feel like I don't know, because it was the first time I was watching it. I don't know what I expected really, but I thought there would be more detail of. There was God, but there wasn't much religious aspects to me in depth, like around prayer or anything. But then I don't know how much there should have been when I watched it, I wouldn't say no, it didn't do it justice or anything, or it took away from it.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like, then I feel like let's say when I read, I was reading Exodus at the same time as this, and I'm reading it through this month as well. There is certain things that they do miss out.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't get it all.
Everything. Yeah.
And also they need to make it both digestible and have appeal to people even of a secular audience.
Which I think it did.
Yeah, which I think it did as well. But I feel like it was brave even for them to decide to do something like this at the time in which they did it. Yeah. And to the quality that they've done it. So I would agree with the statement. And of course, you mentioned stuff about how there wasn't much about prayer and stuff like that. There is, when he asked them to let the people go. Yeah. Before that, in the Bible, it says that let my people go so that they can sacrifice to me. Okay. So that they can have a feast in the wilderness. And it doesn't say and come back, but it says 3 days. So I assume that they meant come back and have that kind of time off where they can kind of worship God and then come back. But they don't mention that in this. Okay. So then that might be what you're talking about. That kind of level of detail they didn't include in it. But yeah. So what do you think about this?
I think that they did it justice. They were especially for they got all the key bits. Do you get what I mean? Like, obviously, like you said, those sort of in-depth stuff they didn't include. And you would have to reference your Bible for that. But I feel like they did a good job. And it was easily digestible. It
was. Yeah. Actually, no, there was a lot. Even just Egypt itself, before Moses found out he was a Hebrew. Just the way it is, even now, just like the hieroglyphics, the way they told stories and whatnot, I thought it was really, really good. Yeah. I would agree with the statement. And same, I think, like you said, it was brave for them to do it. Because when like I said, I'd never seen it. So when I saw that come up in the beginning, I thought, wow, is it really? I thought it was going to say, make no claims to it having any sort of religious grounding.
Oh yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah, because usually people are so quick to defend and be like, based on a true story, but we've added this, that, whatever. But it's original.
And I guess for their audience, it was like kids, isn't it? So it needed to be able to be to a certain level where they're telling enough information, but not too much.
Yeah.
That it's going to be overwhelming and sort of Yeah.
Do you feel like it mainly appeals to kids, or do you feel like of course it's a family movie, but do you feel like grown-ups would be able to enjoy this just as much?
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know. You guys will have to tell me what it was like watching it as a kid, because I think I don't think I would have relate as much as I did now watching it as an adult. Yeah. I would like to actually understand.
When I watched it as a kid, I watched it and I knew about it and I knew it was about Moses and stuff, but I didn't watch it enough. The thing is, I liked it, but I didn't watch it enough to kind of remember it. Because basically, actually, I'll tell you guys this. Do you guys remember Tamsin from Richmond? A girl called Tamsin? No. No, but basically, yeah. We were talking... the camera's gone off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I'll get onto it just now, after I tell this. Basically, we were talking about good children's films, stuff like Lion King and whatever. She said there's none better than Prince of Egypt. I was like...
For kids?
Yeah, we were talking about like Disney films or Dreamworks or whatever, and then she said the best film is Prince of Egypt. Best film is Prince of Egypt. And I was like, Prince of Egypt. I was like, best film. She's like, yeah, it's better than Lion King. I was like, okay.
Wow, she loved it.
I was like, okay. And then I said, okay. She said, no, just watch it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Then I watched it. And then I came in and I was like, you know, it's good, yeah. But I don't know if it's Lion King level. It's good though. I will give you that. And she was like, oh, come on, you know, it's thing. I said, no, for real. It's on that. I understand why you're saying it. I understand why you're saying it's on that level, but
it's different.
Yeah. And I feel like it's still a bit, not to say that the best. That's what I was thinking. The best. I was like, I don't know. But I feel like I know why she said it. It's because of the religious undertone, or I can't even say undertones, it's like overtones really. But yeah, the religious themes and ideas of it. I said that's the reason why I could say that. I understand why you're saying what you're saying. And I do respect what you're saying that this is the case, because I can't argue to say that it's not, but it's more, it would be more for, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it would be more about preference or what I'm used to, which is why I was hesitant to say, it's just as good. But I don't know what you guys would say about that one. If you'd say that it's just as good, is it more so because, is there something about the quality of this that doesn't reach that level? Or is it like...
I don't think it's the quality. I think it's just the story. They're just different. If you were looking at genres and you were looking at educational, like religious kid films, this definitely top. But as a general, all kids films, no, I wouldn't. Sorry, as much as it was good, it wouldn't be, the best. If I was thinking what was really educational and what, if I had to think top films to show if I was a teacher in a Catholic school or something, or if it was around that genre of religion or just civilization, beginning, whatever, yes, then I would say it. But as on a broader thing, there are so many, even Inside Out. And
I knew you were going to say it.
That was top 2 and it ain't 2.
Even Smithereens. What was it called?
Smithereens?
What was the Christmas one we watched?
What
was it?
Claws.
Where am I getting Smithereens? Was that his name or something?
No. That was from the Black Mirror thing.
What? No, I'm sure someone had a name in there. Did I really pull that out of nowhere? Maybe you're right.
Smithereens.
Smithers?
Nah, maybe you might be right, but I can't recall it though. Actually, now I'm thinking.
I don't know, but yeah, even that was like.
Oh, you put that clause above this.
I don't know above, but like the message in it was. But I appreciated it a lot. I wouldn't put it above. I don't know. This is still new for me. I need to watch this a few more times.
Yeah, I think that was the same as me. I had to be like, okay, I'm taking it in. But I won't rush to
any. You want to say it.
I'm not rushing to any conclusions. There.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I do get what you mean. But to be honest, over time, I've put this up there.
Yeah,
it's near my top 5.
Near Lion King.
Yeah, it's near Lion King. That Inside Out, Lion King, Inside Out. This, I don't know what else is there.
Did you say Up?
Up. Oh my God.
I haven't watched Up again. I need to watch it again.
You need to.
We need to do
We've been telling you.
I need to watch
Up.
We could probably do that next time, since I don't think there's any holidays that I could do Pic.Think around. Like, let's say, for example, as in the theme. So I think Up might be a good one to kind of, as our animation one, and then we'll pick something else as well.
Yeah.
All right, so do you feel like making biblical or mythical or religious stories into animation gives it like a juvenile, naive type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tinge. That's the word.
The film, does it give
the story, the narrative, a juvenile tinge, like a naive thing that you just tell children kind of thing? Does it give it that element?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Why not?
I think it's a story and it has to be told from somewhere. How else would you do it? It's not going to be an action film or something. It could be.
Nah, I mean, as in, like, you know, there's certain people that they think, cartoon, you can't rate a cartoon highly. Because, like, let's say, for example, I don't know if you saw the Top Boy episode that I recorded. One of the guys that that was on that one. He said, "Oh, you can't put a cartoon." I said, like let's say I said Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or this level, and then he's like, "Oh, you can't put a cartoon up there." And I was like, "Yeah, you can. It's just about the story. That's what it is. It's not about if it's in colors and stuff like that." And then I mentioned The Lion King. He's like, "Okay, I concede in that sense." But there is, and even remember, when it was Gladys' birthday. Remember when we went to Tarshish, and then we were arguing against Charlie. Charlie said,
"Yes, no respect for the film."
He's like, "It's a cartoon. You can't rate it that highly."
What?
There is a bias against cartoons being up there. Or, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking,
yes,
there is basically a stigma against it being kind of like childlike or something that can't be taken too seriously. So what I'm trying to say is that does doing that diminish the actual sacredness of the story, as in like something that's, because obviously it's been carried over for generations. Does it do that same thing with this?
In that context, not for me, no, because I rate animations equally as highly. I think it's the story that's being told. Sometimes I think it can be told even better in animation.
I agree.
Because you're actually telling the story rather than getting caught up in all the effects and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I can see how some people, they'd be like, I'm not, if you had the choice between watching real life film or an animation, they'll be like, no, I'm not going to bother with a cartoon. So I can see how people would have that view. But for me, no, I don't think it does. I think it wouldn't be told as well if it was done a different way.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like, for me, I would happily watch it and, enjoy it. But some people, they do have that sense of like, oh, it's a cartoon. Like, I'm not going to rate it as much because, like, essentially, if I was to say, if I was to tell somebody my favourite Bible story and then say it was this and tell them to go and watch it, like, would they really watch it and to understand the story because it's a cartoon?
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Whereas if it was like a real life thing, they probably would watch it and then sort of understand it a lot more.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the person, really and truly. I would watch an animation. So.
Yeah, I've noticed it about you guys. You guys aren't opposed to animations or like have any kind of what's the word, prejudices to animations. It's more about the story, and that's what I try to say. Like it is just about the story. For me, I agree with both of you guys. I don't feel like this diminishes it in any way. I feel like it actually helps it because then it allows children to kind of envision what their parents are kind of, the stories that their parents tell each other or the stories that their parents live by.
Yeah.
So then it makes it, like you said, digestible. Because let's say, for example, not everyone's going to go to Exodus and read it. But once you have this, and then you go to the Bible and read it, you're like, oh, they missed this out.
Yeah.
Like, they missed that out.
Feel like, because I used to watch it in Sunday school. And when I eventually, because I was so young, I don't think they really made us go to the Bible and reference it. We just watched it. And then, as I got older and in RE lessons or whatever, and you'd read the story, it did make me think of the film and be like, oh yeah, that was the scene when happened. And, they even referenced all these little things and stuff. And it does help you create a picture of it and make sense of the story. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that. That's exactly it, and which is why I think it's a benefit, because instead of going into your RE lessons with a blank slate, like I don't know what's going on, you're like, oh, I've seen this story before.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, so then this is what they've done to that. Oh, that's what they did. Oh, that's what... Even I have the same attitude towards people who make films out of books.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good because you see how someone interpreted the book and how they wanted it to kind of be shown. Yeah. And then when you actually go to the book, you have like a scaffolding to work from.
Oh, do you prefer to watch things and then read a book?
I'm back and forth. Yeah. Like, let's say I'm back and forth. So let's say like Little Prince, I have this there. I felt like watching it and then reading it made me appreciate reading it.
Okay.
Because when I read it, I realised, what they did in the film, instead of focusing on just what was happening in the book, they focused on the retelling of the narrator in a way. It's like a backstory.
Okay.
In
so
a way.
Added more.
They added more. So there was a bit... So the way that they told it was as if... Okay, basically, the Little Prince is told from a narrator's perspective, and then he's telling the story about the Little Prince. And so then in the film, they made it seem as though he's telling it to a little girl.
Okay.
And then when he's telling it to the little girl, she comes up with all these questions like, wait, how did this happen? No, this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. And so it's kind of like, what would happen if that book was actually told?
Okay. Yeah.
And so then that's why I said, I see why they've done it that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I normally like reading the book
then
then watching the film, but I did it backwards for Gone Girl. So I watched the film and then you gave me the book.
Yeah.
And it did make me appreciate the book a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, I was proper like, oh my gosh, like, even though I knew what was going to happen and stuff, but it was just like, the extra detail was just like, more worth it to read.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because I feel like that's why for me, a lot of films don't do the book justice, because I'm like, it's just not...
Yeah,
there's so much you've missed
that's
out.
the bad thing about when you read a book first and then you watch the film. It's just like,
yeah, so maybe I need to try.
But the opposite way, you're just like, oh my god,
Mind blown. Yeah, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there needs to be more stories of a similar vein like this? Like, let's say, taken from biblical stories, or
100%. Like, yeah.
Or do you feel like it might indoctrinate children? It has a risk of it indoctrinating children.
When you say indoctrinate?
As in indoctrination is like, how do I explain it? It's like teaching, like, by compulsion, I suppose. So let's say it's like... No, you don't think so? I
don't think it does. I think it's... Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, because I was going to say that certain people view, let's say, if you were to be... This is a different example. Tell me if it doesn't really fit. But people who teach politics shouldn't... There's a view that they should be kind of like unbiased and not have their own political views. Or same thing as like certain religious studies teachers, people view them as indoctrinating because they're just... Sometimes they may be using it as an excuse to impose their own belief. So I'm saying as in like, let's say if we made more stories like this, would it risk imposing certain beliefs on children? Or would it be more like, there's like would it make them more open to...
I think it wouldn't. It would make them more open because I think it takes a lot more than just watching a film for someone to believe. So it's good for them to have the option to see it, but it doesn't. I don't think it's. For me, it's not like brainwashing or indoctrinating. Is that a word?
Yeah, brainwashing. That's the word.
I don't think. For me, the message in this is not that strong that it's like really overpowered. Because you could watch this even if you're not Catholic, or you could just watch it as a film and just appreciate it for the story that is told, rather than being like, wow, this is forcing religion down my throat.
Yeah.
And I think actually after watching it, I sort of said to myself, like, I'm surprised there hasn't been anything since, or there hasn't been anything more. It would be nice to see more, and you can take it or leave it. Like, you don't have to see it and believe it, but it's good to have it available.
That's interesting that you thought like, why is there not more? I know why there's not more, because people are scared to touch on the topics. Yeah. That's why people are scared to...
In this day and age.
Scared why?
Because it's like, this is people's beliefs. Yeah. So then once you start touching people's beliefs or like playing around with it, then you're very vulnerable to criticism. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
You're very vulnerable to criticism, very vulnerable to kind of like... people feeling like you're disrespecting them. Okay. That kind of thing.
It's hard. You can't win.
No.
I think as long as they had the correct people on like the writing board, who had an insight into it, and it wasn't written just from like an outside. I think this happened, and I think this happened. And as long as they've done real research,
know the story, the story, and you sort of like execute it in a good way, like.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's easier said than done.
There's always criticism, but I think, it would be good to have more. For me, this isn't controversial, but from like the point that you're coming from, it can be, like you said, it's questioning people's beliefs or whatever, it's their faith. But I think we need that. We need, I don't know.
No, I agree. I agree with that because I feel like we need more of this to kind of help people have what Gladys had when she entered into a religious studies class. Because some people enter into religious studies class and they don't know anything.
No, and then
then you understand why there's like prejudices towards different religions. And I feel like if we had more from a broad scale, not even just biblical, if we had more from all sorts of religions, it would give us that scaffolding, give children or learners that scaffolding to realise that, oh, this is what happened. And sometimes it's hard to kind of envision certain things when it's written on paper.
Yeah.
So then this would kind of be like an easier way to, like you said, digest that kind of stuff.
Definitely. And the fact that you brought up other religions as well is quite important as well. Because, I feel like there should be so much more visuals about different stories based on religion and what's like in the Bible, the Quran, all these stuff. Like, just so that, especially for young people who are religious, they can piece together sort of some of the stories and stuff.
I think it would even maybe reduce, maybe this is a bit of a reach, but it would reduce some prejudice towards other religions because you would actually understand it. So for me, that's why I would like to see one on like Islam, because I want to understand, and it's rather than just being naive and closed-minded and having all these false impressions of their religion. It would actually educate you on it. And it's up to you whether I want to watch it and then convert, or whether watch it and disregard it. But you can't blame everything on the piece of art that's made. But I think it does need to be expressed somehow.
I agree, guys. And so I was going to say, so if you had to choose between the animation style, soundtrack or narrative, what would you say you enjoyed most? And if there's anything, what aspect of the film did you dislike? So what did you enjoy most about the film and what did you dislike?
Watching it at my age, not that much. No, maybe it's just me. I disliked how many songs there were. Another song. Oh goodness, it's just too many.
There was just Deliver Us at the beginning. Then there was what was the other one? There was You're Playing with the Big Boys. That one. And was it that one that?
Oh, is that
Hit Me Up Mariah?
That one's a tune.
That used to be my tune.
Used to? Still is.
Yeah, that one.
That I enjoyed. That was my favourite bit of the film.
It's a good song.
It is.
It was a good song.
No, it touches you in your soul. That song.
Every bit of every word.
It does. Definitely.
No, because there wasn't anything that I disliked about it. So that's the only thing I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I had to pick something,
I felt like when I was younger, when I would watch it, it would be bare long. Is it actually really long?
No, it's just an hour. When I watched it,
that seemed like that was so quick.
It went quick, but yeah.
When I was younger, it felt like I was there for like 3 hours. But maybe that's just because time when you're a young person is just bare long.
And I think the story itself,
it's
not like happy and fun, and the time just passed. It's like really, I don't know what.
But I love the animation, love the soundtrack, I guess. There wasn't really anything that I disliked.
And that makes it seem as though it should be on the level of Lion King and stuff like that, If there's nothing
different.
It's just different.
And Lion King has more songs, so really I'm just
Lion King, you cry. You cry in Lion King.
I don't know. It's.
I did feel something for this one though. Like when I think it's
the brothers.
The brothers, the relationship between the brothers. And I kind of felt something, like when I think it's like the score music, like when they're passing through the Red Sea, something kind of like stirs in me. Like it's like similar to like how the miracle song, the Believe song, does in You, Gladys. It's kind of like something about that scene
Just
about
touches,
crossing,
yeah.
touching,
Yeah.
and the music used there for some reason.
Yeah, no, it was a good film.
Mm.
I don't know why I hadn't seen it sooner.
Did I share the thug tear? You want to watch this? I
The
think
first
so.
time, really?
Not the first time.
She shed a thug tear.
Mm.
Do you know what?
I think
Maybe
so,
because I didn't sit and watch, because I started it last night and then I stopped and I watched the rest of it today. So I think I need to sit there and have it with my undivided attention, and I will take it in differently.
I think it's something that over time, because I don't think I cried. I cried when I first watched Lion King. I don't think so. I was sad when Foster died,
Oh my God,
but I don't think I cried. I don't know. I can't
Wake
remember.
up! What? That is
I
the
did feel
saddest
it.
thing.
So sad.
Yeah, I did feel it definitely, but like now it's like I cried later on because it's kind of like you don't realize the story that you're taking in when you're young. If that makes sense. Or when you first take it in, you don't realize what you're taking in. Yeah, and then
I think I will grow to like it even more once I watch it more once.
Yeah, I mentioned what scene resonated with me. What scenes resonated with you most from this film?
From what I can remember was when he put him in the basket and let him go.
Oh. Yeah.
I remember that always used to make me sad, but yeah.
Understandably, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine having to give up your own child because you're being persecuted.
Yeah.
What about you, Raveen?
I think it was when he still thinks that he's who he is. He's not before he knows that he's a Hebrew, and when the sister comes and it's just like, you're our brother, like you're not his son, you're the mother of our you're the child of our mother. And then she starts singing the song, and it was like he has that, he realizes who he is, because that was sort of where then it changed.
Yeah, that is when everything changed.
Yeah, and the end, after the plague is passed and they come out, and the beginning of There Can Be Miracles, when she's singing it and you see them all being set free and just, that was really beautiful. That was...
Yeah, that's good.
That was a good scene.
What would you say is the central message of this, if it's not obvious? If you don't think, or if you could pick a less obvious one.
I'm trying to think now less obvious ones, other messages that were within it.
A few moments later.
I mean...
For me, I feel like it's always like, it's just like a message of hope that suffering can be overcome, I suppose.
Yeah, there can be miracles.
Yeah, I didn't want to say
believe.
that. That's what I didn't want to say. That's why I'm trying to avoid it. I said, but yeah, like it's kind of like what resonates with me is like even just the beginning, when they're working like slaves, and it's like they're singing for God to deliver them. Like they're constantly singing to kind of come out of their suffering. Yeah, and I feel like the Buddhist. I don't know, you wouldn't call it a mantra, but it's like one of the principles that they believe that life is suffering. Yeah. And it's kind of like that aspect of it, and the fact that it's like, why do we suffer so much as human beings? Or why is that like the default position in life, that we suffer? And even when we're not suffering, like in the position that we are now, we all have our individual suffering. Yeah. As in that we all go through something.
Before this.
Yeah. So that resonates with me as well. Like, the call to God or some sort of higher power to kind of bring us out of that place. Yeah. I feel like that resonates with me a lot.
If I thought of another message, it would just be the faith that I think Moses had in God after he has the encounter with the burning bush, and he's like, well, what will I say? How will I do it? Like, all on my own? And God's like, I'll tell you what to say. And he just tells you, bring your stick, bang it, I got you. Yeah. That's all you have to, just trust me.
Believe.
Yeah. And when you believe, there can be miracles. So it was just having a faith that, it's is bigger than you, but don't think you're not enough
Mm-hmm.
to make change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, that is actually. I think that is one of the central takeaways when you actually read the Exodus book. It's kind of like he has like an inferiority complex where he's like, oh, I'm just a shepherd. I'm just a shepherd, or I'm just this, or I'm just that.
Yeah.
Who am I to talk?
Yeah,
even in the book, in Exodus, he says to God, "But I talk with a stutter."
Oh.
Yeah, so I can't speak.
Yeah.
I can't speak that well. That kind of stuff. So there's a lot about, let's say, our own fears and anxieties and stuff like that in the Bible as well that they might not have touched on just
much,
here, but that kind of stuff. So that is a good one. So do you want to go on to the last question that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Last question is, okay, so I want to say, in the beginning of the story, the father Pharaoh attempts to justify the Hebrew enslavement and infanticide by saying they would have risen against us. For the greater good, sacrifices must be made. They were only slaves. But then Moses, later on, he realized that he said when he met Zipporah, if you remember that one, by the well, he said, I didn't see because I didn't wish to see.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he was in a position of privilege, but he chose not to see it. So he realized his own self-delusion that they were mistreating the people. And I said, basically, this reminds me of certain quotes from the Bible. Even Jesus has said stuff like, so that seeing that they see but not perceive, and hearing they hear but they do not understand. And also in the book of Ezekiel, it says, Son of man, you're living in a rebellious house. They have eyes to see, but do not see, and ears to hear, but they do not hear, for they are a rebellious house. So that's taken from Ezekiel 12, verse 2, if anyone is interested, and Mark chapter 4, verse 12. And so what I ask is, why do you think people see and admit what is good to them, but choose otherwise? Why do you think it is that we see what's good and then we still don't choose it?
There's something more in like Hinduism. You work from 3 different modes, and you have the mode of ignorance, and that's what it is, because it's easy for us.
Easy.
It's ease, and it's less anxiety and less challenging and less fear or whatever. We just do, we take the easy option.
Yeah, I agree.
I
It's kind
agree.
of like, that's the easiest option because you know what you're getting yourself into.
Even though you know, why do
Yeah.
we do that?
Yeah, this is.
I think it's a survival thing. I think it's a survival thing because the first word that came into my head when I even wrote the question, I said comfort.
Yeah.
It's just comfort. We're comfortable doing what we know. And also to kind of, I think it's because also that there's always more to do.
Always.
There's always more to do. So let's say if you were to do this amount,
When does it stop?
Where does it stop? Yeah, there's that aspect of it. Like, even if I was to do this, I can't do that. Or even if I was to do this, I would still have to go to do that. You know what I mean? I'll still have to. So it's like a constant uphill journey.
And I think if we were to challenge ourselves, there is also always the possibility of failure, and some of us would just prefer to not fail. So we just do what is comfortable, what's easy. So we're just, it's like I'd rather. I know that if I try, I might not get it, so I'd rather not try.
Yeah.
That's the
Basically.
Yeah. Rather than actually challenge ourselves. But it's just
Okay, so that's the problem. What would you reckon are some examples of that today that you encounter, and you're just thinking, that's not good, but you're choosing.
Like staying with your man, that's just it's good for you, but like
what was it? So staying with it, is that codependent relationship or toxic relationship?
toxicity,
drugs, alcohol.
Love it.
Staying in a job that
you don't necessarily,
you know that you could do better with, but
even diet.
yeah.
I'm like, could cut out cheese. Do I want to? No. Like,
Not cheese.
Not the cheese.
Now I feel like that's a what's it, attachment that a lot of people do have to
cheese.
Cheese. Like if anything, that's one thing that's blocking people from.
That's it. Otherwise dairy, not too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese.
What's wrong with cheese though?
Yeah, but it's the, I don't want to know. My aunt sent me a link because I'm not watching that. I don't want to know.
Cheese is
ignorance is bliss. I'm doing exactly that. I'd rather not.
Cholesterol is one of them, and spots and stuff like that is another one.
Yeah, and I notice it when I have cheese. It's digestion, everything I do. Yeah, I get cheese spots, dairy spots.
Could do with some pizza now.
A thin crust though. I don't really want a thick crust.
No, deep.
Nah, I'm not in the mood for Italian. Although, are we eating Italian food these days?
Classic example. We just talked about and then you're just like, oh, I can still use some cheese.
I was literally about to suggest something. Basically on Uber Eats, there's this code until tomorrow where you can spend £20 but get £15 off. So we could order a pizza. I might do that. Anyway, so diet, exercise as well. Sometimes I'm like, should go to the gym, or like, it's only a few stops. I could walk it, but I don't know. Lots of little things.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah.
To be honest, you guys have mentioned most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it. One other one though, is smoking cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
That's just like an obvious one. And out of all of them, that's like the blatant one where there's stuff on the packets saying
it's so true.
All this stuff.
The images are nasty.
They do it and they can tell themselves. They will tell themselves. I don't even have to say it to them.
Yeah.
Or someone doesn't have to say it to them, and they will admit to themselves that it's not good, and they will.
But that shows how addictive it is.
It's crazy
because they know that it's not good, but you literally can't stop. And it becomes psychological because you think, if I have a cigarette, it's going to reduce my stress. It doesn't. But when
they know what they do,
nicotine is. Yeah, I hope to never get addicted. I think that would be the hardest thing to give up.
I think the most I think that's why I just don't touch it. But I think one of the most insidious ones is sugars, though. Do
you know what I was about to say? Smoking and obesity, which not just sugars, but
that one, of course, tobacco is like the it's obvious.
Yeah.
But sugar is like the insidious one that's like it's in everything. Almost everything, I should say. And it is super addictive.
Yeah.
And it causes so much problems.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think it was actually Kingsman. Have you seen that? It's like
I have actually.
Comedy sort of thing, the second one. And they're trying to capture the drug dealer, and she's like, why are they coming after me? Like sugar is more addictive than any drug, and people are just doing it legally or whatnot. I thought that's so true.
Yeah.
Just as addictive as like cocaine or whatnot. Yeah.
Addicted to sugar.
Yeah.
I used to be.
Literally, I could feel myself like withering away when I don't have it.
No, it's me and caffeine a little bit.
Caffeine's I feel like caffeine is like a utility, if that makes sense. So then that's why people are addicted, because it helps them.
Yeah, but I just enjoy coffee anyway, even if I'm not tired.
Okay.
I like a nice hot drink. And I like a good coffee. Appreciate some.
I like a hot drink.
Yeah.
I like a hot drink.
I love a tea.
Herbal tea, yeah.
Love a tea. Ooh, I'd actually die without tea. That is one thing. I'm like, I can't go a day without having a mug of tea.
Well, unless we have anything else that we want to say or that we wanted to contribute into it before I end this episode.
No.
Except that there can be miracles.
And there can be more religious stories out there based on like animated
Yeah,
stories.
I'd
We
love
need
it.
more.
Yeah,
I agree.
don't be afraid, creators.
I'd watch them all.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make more
Yeah.
of them. And whoever's watching this, if there is like some sort of producer that's watching this, or some sort of writer, do it
Do
on
something
Elijah,
different.
please.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, please.
Please.
Thank you.